Imagine a place so terrifying that even the Nazis, known for their brutality, were shocked. A place where horror and cruelty reached unimaginable levels. This is the story of Jasenovac, one of the most horrific concentration camps in history. In today's video, we will uncover the chilling events and the dark secrets of this camp. Stay tuned, because by the end, you'll understand why Jasenovac remains one of the most feared places in the annals of human cruelty. Let's dive into the dark past that many still struggle to comprehend. Establishment and purpose. In August 1941, a dark chapter began in the history of the Independent State of Croatia, a puppet state of Nazi Germany. The Ustaše regime, driven by a terrifying ideology, established the Jasenovac concentration camp. But this wasn't just one camp. It was a complex of 5 separate camps, each with a single horrifying purpose: the systematic extermination of Serbs, Jews, Romani people, and political dissidents. Imagine a place where fear and brutality reigned supreme, a place so notorious that it even scared the Nazis. That's what Jasenovac was. It wasn't like the industrialized extermination camps we often hear about, where the killing was impersonal, almost mechanical. No, Jasenovac was different. The Ustaše regime took a gruesome, hands-on approach to murder, making the camp infamous for its sheer brutality. But why did the Ustaše create such a place? Their goal was clear: to create an ethnically pure Croatia. This meant eliminating anyone they considered undesirable. Serbs were their primary target, but Jews, Romani people, and those who opposed their regime were also marked for death. The scale of the atrocities committed at Jasenovac is staggering. The camp quickly became synonymous with suffering and death. It's hard to grasp the level of cruelty that took place there. But understanding its establishment and purpose is crucial to remembering and honoring the countless victims who suffered and perished in this hellish place. Brutal methods of killing. Now let's talk about what made Jasenovac particularly terrifying: the brutal methods of killing used there. Unlike the industrial methods of extermination seen in many Nazi camps, Jasenovac was infamous for its gruesome, hands-on approach to murder. Here, death wasn't delivered through gas chambers or mass shootings. Instead, it was up close and personal. Imagine the horror of being in a place where guards used knives, hammers, axes, and other blunt instruments to kill prisoners. The sheer brutality of these methods is beyond comprehension. The guards at Jasenovac didn't just kill, they tortured and maimed with a shocking level of cruelty. This wasn't about efficiency. It was about inflicting as much pain and terror as possible. What's even more chilling is that the camp guards took a twisted pride in their cruelty. They didn't just follow orders, they relished in the suffering they caused. This sadistic behavior made Jasenovac one of the most feared camps, even among the Nazis themselves. Yes, even those who were part of the broader Nazi machinery of death found Jasenovac's methods to be exceptionally brutal. The stories from Jasenovac are nightmarish. Prisoners lived in constant fear, knowing that death could come at any moment in the most horrific ways. This gruesome, hands-on approach to killing created an atmosphere of unimaginable terror and suffering, marking Jasenovac as one of the darkest chapters in the history of World War II. Understanding these brutal methods is crucial to grasping the full horror of Jasenovac. It's a stark reminder of the depths of human cruelty and a testament to the extreme suffering endured by its victims. We must remember these atrocities not just as historical facts, but as powerful lessons on the dangers of unchecked hatred and brutality. Victim demographics and numbers. Let's take a closer look at the victim demographics and the staggering numbers of lives lost at Jasenovac. Understanding who these victims were and the scale of the atrocities can help us grasp the full horror of this camp. The primary victims of Jasenovac were ethnic Serbs. The Ustaše regime targeted them mercilessly, with estimates suggesting that between 45,000 and 52,000 Serbs were killed in the camp. These were men, women, and children, torn from their homes and subjected to unimaginable suffering simply because of their ethnicity. But the horror didn't stop there. Jasenovac was also a deadly place for Jews and Romani people. Between 12,000 and 20,000 Jews lost their lives in the camp, victims of the same brutal, hands-on methods of murder. The Romani people, too, faced horrific persecution, with estimates of their deaths ranging from 15,000 to 20,000. When we talk about Jasenovac, we're not just talking about numbers. We're talking about individuals, each with their own stories, families, and dreams, all cut short by the brutality of the Ustaše regime. The total number of victims at Jasenovac is still debated by historians, but estimates range from 77,000 to 100,000 people over the camp's operation from 1941 to 1945. Each of these numbers represents a life lost, a story ended too soon. The scale of the tragedy is almost beyond comprehension, but it's essential to remember these victims. Their suffering and deaths are a stark reminder of the horrors that can arise from hatred and intolerance. Living conditions and torture. Now let's delve into the horrific living conditions and the daily torture faced by prisoners at Jasenovac. The camp was not just a place of death, it was also a place of relentless suffering. Conditions in Jasenovac were abysmal, to say the least. Imagine a place where basic necessities were scarce, and survival was a daily struggle. Prisoners at Jasenovac received minimal food, barely enough to keep them alive. They had inadequate shelter, often crammed into makeshift huts or exposed to the harsh elements. Sanitary facilities were virtually non-existent, leading to unsanitary and inhumane living conditions. But the physical deprivation was just one part of the nightmare. The guards at Jasenovac were notorious for their cruelty and brutality. They didn't just oversee the camp, they actively participated in the torment. Prisoners were routinely tortured and terrorized, with the guards taking a twisted pleasure in their suffering. The violence was not random but systematic and often used as a form of entertainment. Prisoners faced gruesome acts of brutality, with guards killing them for sport or to make an example. The constant threat of violent death created an atmosphere of perpetual fear and hopelessness. Every day in Jasenovac was a battle against both physical and psychological torment. The fear of sudden death and the relentless cruelty of the guards made every moment in the camp a living hell. Understanding these conditions helps us grasp just how extreme the suffering was at Jasenovac. It wasn't just a place where people died, it was a place where they lived in constant dread and misery. The experiences of those who endured Jasenovac's horrors are a powerful reminder of the depths of human cruelty and the importance of remembering and learning from the past. Liberation and aftermath. In April 1945, as the end of World War II drew near, the situation at Jasenovac took a dramatic turn. The partisan resistance movement, which was closing in on the camp, forced the Ustaše regime to make a desperate move. To cover up their horrific crimes, the Ustaše dismantled the camp and began a frantic attempt to erase all evidence of their atrocities. In a final, chilling act of cruelty, the guards executed many of the remaining prisoners. They were determined to leave no witnesses to their brutal reign, but amidst this chaos, some prisoners managed to fight back. They staged a revolt, and a few were fortunate enough to escape, running for their lives in the hope of finding safety. By early May 1945, the partisans reached Jasenovac and liberated the camp. What they discovered was a scene of unimaginable horror. The full extent of the atrocities committed at Jasenovac was revealed, shocking the world. The liberation of the camp was a grim milestone, exposing the brutal reality of what had occurred behind its walls. The aftermath of Jasenovac was not just about liberation, but also about uncovering and documenting the truth. It was a crucial moment for historians and survivors, who would work tirelessly to ensure that the horrors of Jasenovac were never forgotten. If you found this story important and want to learn more about historical events and their impact, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We dive deep into stories that matter and shed light on the past to understand our present. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button and join us on this journey of discovery and remembrance.